Mortal Kombat 11 is a ticking time bomb. Oh, what, you don't believe me? Well, what if I told you that in just a matter of time, 2/3 or more of the entire game will be locked off forever to new prospective buyers? Let's talk about it. The repel weight is slightly different. I think to make this a little bit easier to connect with a combo,
I see a vision rising dreary.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Mortal Kombat discussion video. My name is Brian of Chamber of the Wraith, and today, well, I already said that, but here's the thing. Mortal Kombat 11 is the least future-proof Mortal Kombat game of all time. And Injustice 2 could also be in similar, but not necessarily as bad of trouble. But Mortal Kombat 11 is a whole lot worse. And to explain exactly what I'm talking about, we need to talk about exactly how things are done in this game. Now, this is one of the last Mortal Kombat videos I will ever do, because, frankly, I don't know what else to do. I could try and unlock concept art in the crypt, but that would probably take ages. I've already cut most of the gear. This Wraith Online that I'm doing will be the last Wraith Online, that sort of thing. What do you do? Now, first, let's talk about what you can do in the game. Seems like you have quite a bit of options. You have the crypt, you have Towers of Time, you got local and tournament and all of this good stuff. But there's a problem. Loadouts are one of the key things of this game. And we're going to start here. So, if you are somebody who wants to play the game and wants to take full advantage of the customization menu, you're going to have to start unlocking stuff, which is fine. Unlocking stuff keeps you playing the game and it kind of makes sense. However, the way you unlock stuff is in a seriously bad fashion. You unlock stuff by being restricted online. When I go into the Towers of Time, I have to deal with online requirements. The Race Against Time, that is online only. One cannot get away from online in this game. You have to deal with it. So, you go through the Towers of Time and try to unlock gear, or augments, or what have you, right? Problem, what if you don't have the internet connected? I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do, but it's to prove a point. I'm going to disconnect my internet. Boom. No internet whatsoever. Now, the Towers of Time are locked. Online features and the PlayStation Store are not available. But this is the Towers of Time. This is in kind of the single player mode, where I could play the story or go to the towers. Or this. There was an error retrieving classic towers from the Mortal Kombat 11 servers. No save data or rewards will be given out. The crypt is locked out. Online being locked out? Sure. AI battle? Sure. Because these are both online-based elements. But I go in here, Scorpion, and I can fight just fine with my loadouts. But there's an issue. What if I want to change my characters? Can't sync the online inventory, so I'd have to change it every time. Collection is fine. The point is, you're basically hooped. If you want to try and play this game offline, whether because you don't have a stable enough internet connection to play online, or the Mortal Kombat servers are eventually shut down, you are stuck. Because the Towers of Time and the crypt are the main ways to unlock things like gear and shaders. But without these, you can't unlock them. You also can't get rewards from the Mortal Kombat 11 servers. The only place you can get reliable rewards is the story mode, and they are one time. They are the gear pieces and the shaders connected to the characters, and then you are hooped. So you are restricted to the story characters. You're restricted to Liu Kang, Raiden, Scorpion, Kitana, Sonya, Jax, Jackie, Johnny Cage, Jade, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, Cassie Cage, Kotal Kahn, Liu Kang and Kung Lao. If you don't play any of these characters, you're probably not going to get a lot of, if any, gear from the story mode. And what if you picked up Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate as a physical release, which will have all of the content on it, right? So that means you have all the DLC characters. You don't have to re-download them or anything, because that's a whole other kettle of fish. So what if your main is Spawn? Spawn's not in the story mode. The only way you'll be able to do it is to get his stuff is to get through the towers. Except you can't. Literally, the only way you would ever be able to get anything would be through the character tutorials, which are also required to be downloaded from the servers. You can continue your progress, but you won't receive rewards until you reconnect to the servers. Well, what if you can't? You'll miss out on 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 time crystals, not to mention the bonus rewards for each character. There's tournament skins, and some of them look pretty damn cool. Body Horror Noob Saibot, Virtue's Guardian Cetrion, Dark Cyclone Fujin, Devil Dog Nightwolf, which is one of the Revenant skins. If you if you aren't connected online, you are not getting these rewards. Mortal Kombat 11 is basically cut in half, or even, if I am willing to be harsh, 3/4 by being basically online only. I'm not going to be able to get the things back, even though I plugged in the Ethernet cable now. Oh, no, I got it back. So now that the servers can be reconnected, the inventory can be retrieved, and I can do whatever I damn well please. But remember, this game requires servers to be active. What happens in, let's say, 5 years down the line, when it's no longer practical or cost-effective for NetherRealm to keep the servers open? Do you know what's going to happen? Of course you do. The servers are going to die. And with it, your chances of getting Mortal Kombat 11's primary content, gear, skins, fatalities, not fatalities, brutalities, which brutalities are also locked behind the Towers of Time, you're screwed, because everything is connected to the server. There's no way for you to ever be able to unlock anything for free offline. If I don't have internet or the servers go down, I'm shit out of luck. Whatever I have is what I'm gonna get. And that can be a problem because some of these characters have literally hundreds of pieces of gear to get. Kano has, what's 37 times 3 plus 1? So 37 times 2 is 74, plus 37 is 111, 112 pieces of gear. What if you can't get them? What if you're a Kano main and you can't get any of the gear? You're stuck with the first 2 gear options that you get and the 2 skins. Congratulations, all you can do is customize your move list, and that is it. So, what do you do about that? Well, we go back in time. That's what. Let's talk about Mortal Kombat X. This game is not exempt from its problems connected to this. I have one right now. I, on this PS4, cannot connect to the faction server, meaning I'm locked out of the invasion boss, everything except for the invasion battle for some reason, and I don't even know who the champion is. And of course, I can't access the war tower. But that's really it. That's really it, friends. Like, what else do you think we may have lost if we lose online? If we lose an online connectivity, we lose online, right? Of course, you're right. We're losing online, but let's see what happens if I lose connection. Can't go online. Can't go into the faction wars at all. But I can still do this.
Chaos Realm Invasion.
Yeah, because that's helpful. I can still go to the towers. Not the living towers, mind you. The towers will change over time. But you don't really get anything. You get coins, maybe a few banners for the towers of time, or for these, and that's it. Traditional towers are still available. I can still take on Classic, Test Your Luck, Test Your Might, Endless, and Survivor towers. I can still do these. Still get endings, still play the game offline. Now, tower challenges are also unavailable because naturally you have to get them from an online friend. But you can still single fight, of course. And test your luck and pop into training. You can do 2-player modes. You can even go to the crypt. Now, I have no need to go to the crypt, and quite frankly, this one bothers me a little bit. But you can still go to the crypt. You can still unlock stuff. If I were to pick up a copy of Mortal Kombat X right now, or MKXL anyway, and I wasn't able to connect online for whatever reason, their servers are dead, or I don't have an internet connection, I can still play Mortal Kombat X perfectly fine. Maybe not perfectly fine, that's a bit of a stretch, but let's say 2/3 fine. It's the opposite of Mortal Kombat 11, because while I am locked out of the entirety of the online mode, which is to be expected, you are also locked out of the live towers, the living towers, and the tower challenges. Everything else, though, is fair game. You can, and of course the PlayStation Store, that's the other one that would be locked out, but again, that's base level obvious stuff. I'm not locked out of all of the towers. I could still play the towers, however I damn well please. I wouldn't be able to upload the scores online, but again, that requires online anyway. I can still play Test Your Luck with friends. I can still play Mortal Kombat X. And since there's no unlocks that require you being online, short of DLC skins, which wouldn't be a problem in Mortal Kombat XL, if you have a physical copy of MKXL anyway, I can go into single fight, or training or whatever, pick a character, pick a skin, without any trouble, and fight. I can play Mortal Kombat X pretty much to full capacity. The only things I'd be missing would be the obvious online and shop areas and the living towers and tower challenges. That's it. And the faction war stuff, but nobody really pays attention to faction war stuff anymore. However, it is a little bit of a shame that you do miss out on faction war stuff, because short of being able to... I'm not entirely sure if you can pick your faction still. I don't think you can, because you'd have to connect to a server. But if you had already picked a faction before MKX's servers get shut down,
So serious.
you can still have access to any of the faction finishers that you have, the faction kills. Hello, cat. So, again, supposing that this was actually what I wanted it to be, I could pick any of my faction kills and use them in order to take out an opponent. I can't get this one because I have to be a member of the champion faction and contribute to the faction war victory, but 4 out of 5 finishers, that's a hell of a lot less of a problem than losing literally 24 plus finishers for every character. Whereas in this game, you get them all. Stage fatality is a thing. Any secret brutalities and brutalities are in the game. You don't have to unlock these, to my knowledge. No, wait a minute. Hang on a sec. I'm gonna fact check real quick. Because it's been so long that I forgot. So how do you unlock brutalities? By unlocking them in the crypt. You have to unlock the brutalities in the crypt. Now that sounds like a nightmare if you've only played MK11, because all of a sudden you're locked out of all your brutalities. But remember, I'm offline. My internet cable is not plugged in right now. See? However, if I were to go to one player, or rather the crypt, I can still do it. And I can still unlock everything. But there is one NetherRealm title that is even more future-proof. Future-proof doesn't even begin to describe Injustice Gods Among Us. This was a game that came out before the PlayStation 4 even launched. Granted, it was less than a year before then. In fact, I think it was less than a few months. But still, this game came out before the live service craze. Before every game had to be always online, all the time, every time. Mortal Kombat included. So, what do you lose? Can't connect online. How about Star Labs? The sort of tower system. Oh, that's still there. How about battles? Your offline battle modes. You absolutely can. No leaderboards, but who cares? How about... Oops, I meant to say single fight. Of course that still works. Training still works. The story mode still works. You can't access WBID, but at this point in time, WBID stuff is useless. Because of an update that gave you, and because of this being the Ultimate Edition, you get the WBID skin anyway. I believe it was Yellow Lantern and one of the Flash skins. And all of the content would be here, because you can only play the Ultimate Edition on PS4. So, zombie mode is in. Bonus features are in. And if we take a look at bonus features, you can customize your hero card. It wouldn't do you much good, but you still can. That's the important thing. You absolutely still can get your... Pardon, I'm trying to focus here. You can still absolutely get any of your backgrounds here. As far as I know, though, you can't actually get the ones for DLC characters? Yeah, so most of these are online anyway. But again, what would be the point of customizing your hero card if you have no access... if you have no access to online, right? And yeah, you could use WBID to get most of these, but again, this is not the big thing. This is not what you come here for. Maybe you would like them, sure, and I don't blame you for that. But again, you don't necessarily need them. The main reason why you come to Injustice is to fight and play, and you can do all of it. You can play the story, you can do the battles, you can tackle Star Labs, you can do a single fight, you can go into training, and you can do local multiplayer. Just like the old days. And all the skins are already unlocked. Because this is the Ultimate Edition, you don't have to go unlocking any of them. That even makes this even better. Because even if you are a stickler for unlocking your things, then you can unlock them through here. Same with getting access cards every time you level up. In order to get hero card portraits, all the battles, you can unlock different skins through here. But here's the thing. While this would be how you would get the costumes before, they're not necessary. It's not necessary because all of the costumes are unlocked from the start. And even if for some strange reason they weren't, you get armory keys by leveling up. And you'd be able to get them all. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You don't need the armory cards for anything. You only need them for the skins. And even then, what does that get you? A cool looking thing. A cool little banner that maybe you can turn into a background or something. I never understood why they made Joker Insurgency. Guess because he's not sided with the regime, but still. There. That's all you need to do. And that's not even strictly necessary, because remember, all the costumes are unlocked. Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition will be just as easily playable, short of online, which never really got improved, and thus it is not great anyway. You can still play 90% of Injustice 1 and be completely fine, I'd argue. No online is one thing, but everything else being available in the game is perfectly fine. So as you can see, this is the game that I want future NetherRealm games to be like from a future-proof standpoint. I want, specifically, in the future, outside of NetherRealm improving their business practices, because that's obviously number one. But once that's done, once NetherRealm realizes that online only is not the way to go, and that you must keep any sort of way to unlock all of your content open to online and offline play. And I mean all of it. I don't mean sneaking some things in online exclusively that people would want, like brutalities or skins or whatever. Give everybody the option to unlock everything offline, and then you're set. And if you're worried about, well, what about DLC? DLC is one thing. But remember, NetherRealm, you always release an Ultimate Edition. You always release a final edition of the game with all the DLC characters on there. So you can do that and be like Injustice Gods Among Us. Have all the DLC on here. And have the unlocks be something that you can do offline. Make the gameplay universal. I don't want a haves and have-nots situation with my video games. I really don't. It forces people to play them because they want to get all the cool, crazy things in the games that they're supposed to be playing for fun, but the video game industry wants you to be with them permanently. All of the games, all of the time, non-stop. Pour all of your money in and give it to us. But people don't have that. Future-proofing your games isn't just there to allow people to keep playing your games long after you've stopped supporting them. It's not just about ease of preservation for the future. It's not just any of those things. It's really about the consumer. What good is a video game that you spent literally, in some cases, $200 on, that you can only play half of or less. That's the video I wanted to make. Please let me know if you guys also want a future-proof NetherRealm game to come out in the future. And by future-proof, I mean guarded against servers, guarded against the death of the internet, or anything like that. If, in theory, if I brought my PlayStation 4 and my copy of Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition with me, and traveled back to the year 2001, okay? Where internet stability for online play was basically only a PC thing. Consoles never had that kind of power. Except for, like, the Dreamcast, and even then the Dreamcast was dead in the water when it released. By the time it actually released. So, maybe not dead in the water, but it had trouble. That was the point I was trying to get at. But, I would like to be able, theoretically, to play Injustice Gods Among Us in a future where NetherRealm Studios is dead. This sounds morbid, but think about it. All good things come to an end. NetherRealm might go bankrupt. Maybe WB goes bankrupt. Maybe technology crumbles and the entirety of the internet falls, and the only video games that we can really play are the ones that don't require an internet connection to play most of their content. We would only really get as far as Mortal Kombat X with NetherRealm. Because unfortunately, even with Injustice 2, you can't really do much. I'll be fully upfront with you. This next section is more of an experiment than anything. I'm still unconnected to the internet. I still can't access network features. But how badly does that affect Injustice 2, my favorite NetherRealm fighting game? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Let's see what exactly we're locked out of. Naturally, we're locked out of online and guilds. So, no online shenanigans of any kind. Guilds requiring you to connect with online players. In single player, everything seems fine. The multiverse is fine. But the multiverse are basically the living towers. I'm not 100% sure how this works, but I can go into a multiverse, start a fight, win, especially if I use my AI, and potentially get mother boxes and gear. I can still access, it looks like, a lot. And this is where the experiment comes in. So I'm going to take the opportunity while Batman and Superman are beating the piss out of each other to explain why this particular discovery is very interesting indeed.
We were friends once, Clark.
It's the only reason you're still alive.
Thought it was because I beat you.
Rude. Anyway, so with the whole future-proofing thing, if Injustice 2 proves anything, it's that you can have crazy, quote-unquote, infinite modes that allow you to unlock just about anything you damn well want. Hundreds of gear options, shaders, special moves if you want to customize your characters that way, because you have to unlock the special, some of the special moves in Injustice 2, which that's a major flaw. But you can play through like, I can still send my AI into the multiverse and grab this sort of stuff. Remember,
I'll never stop fighting.
Not the smartest choice.
I'm disconnected from the internet. My Ethernet cable is unplugged from the back of my PS4, and I don't have Wi-Fi enabled because I'm using the Ethernet. So, I'm technically playing Injustice 2 offline right now. And yet, I can go through the multiverse, however you say potato, and potentially get stuff. Once this fight's over, we'll see if we actually get said mother boxes, or if it's a bust.
Batman wins.
2 platinum mother boxes, and some gear. And 2 diamond mother boxes. So, we got those mother boxes. Can we access the Brother Eye Vault and open these mother boxes for some brand new gear? Of course we can. They're still here. But it actually appears that there's a bit of an issue. I need to prove my point a little bit better because it's been so long that I forgot that I actually had some leftover mother boxes. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut here, grab a silver mother box. Well, I'm not going to cut here because I want you to see that I have it. No cuts, like Chris Angel, except more real. And let's see, we get a... What's the fastest way to get a silver mother box here? I think the fastest way would be... Yeah, I think the fastest way would be to take on this level 15 tower. Yeah, so I'll squish this tower real quick and explain why this discovery is so damn important. Let's do... Who has... Let's make things fun. We haven't seen this guy in a while. So, with mother boxes, it's important that these are available to unlock, even if it is an RNG element, because it means you still have access to Injustice 2's biggest gimmick, which is customizing your characters. Now, you still need the Ultimate Edition in order to get all the DLC characters. That's a bit of an issue.
Why you wear that ring?
But that's more of a buyer beware thing. We'll just skip the intros just for the sake of time. But suffice to say, if you can... I love that he's set to zone, but his definition of zoning is literally just run at you. But the point is, you can, as long as you grab the Ultimate Edition, have access to all the DLC characters. You might not get access to the latest patch, so that's going to be an interesting thing when that happens. But if the Injustice 2 servers go down, you can still unlock things. You can still have access to the multiverse. At least, it's how it appears. Which it should be the case because right now my PS4 is not connected to the internet. If they somehow manage to work that around, that is interesting. And I'd have to ask NetherRealm what the hell they were thinking. But you can't do this with MK11. MK11 is screwed if its servers go down. Unless there's a final super update that lets you unlock the gear and... you know, basically play the game without having to worry about losing your gear or anything like that. What are you gonna? What can we do? What can you do about that, really? Like, realistically speaking, what can you do in a situation where you want to play a game, but a huge portion of the content, I'd argue at least 2/3, is inaccessible to you. The crypt, the towers, all of that's gone. And yet, Injustice 2, a game that is 2 years older than Mortal Kombat 11, does this better. Because it has its RNG elements that, while lambasted, understandably, at the very least allow the game to last longer. When it comes time for the PS4 to get emulated, and Injustice 2 can get emulated, well, guess what? Injustice 2 will be able to be played offline.
Find a giant monster to fight.
Mortal Kombat 11 won't have that.
The name is Hellboy, dumbass.
And even if you don't endorse or do emulation, which legally I do not, it's worth noting that even if you... he just faced right through him.
What the hell was that?
I agree, Hellboy. The biggest issue is, if you don't future-proof your games, people won't always be able to play them. And the key to a game's iconography, or iconic status, is how long it can last. Think about games that have released 20, 30, 40 years ago. You think Super Mario Brothers would have been able to last as long if it had an online-only element to it, much less most of the game? No. Now, I'm not saying that Injustice 2 is as iconic as Super Mario Brothers. That would be nuts. But in a present, I should say, where games are incentivized to not future-proof themselves, but rather focus strictly on the one thing that is not assured, online connectivity and longevity.
Wouldn't last a day in the Bureau.
How do you manage? How do you think that the best course of action to make your games last a long period of time and be played for years to come, like a lot of these big companies want, is to make your games online only? That's the opposite of what you want. You want a game that can be played in a very satisfactory and fun and, satisfying, that's the word I was looking for, fashion, online or off. Online should enhance a game, not be the crutch or lifeblood in some cases of a game. Some games, yeah, it's natural. MMORPGs, you kind of... online is literally in the name. But not every game needs to be an MMORPG. This has been a thing for years, that people have wanted games to be MMORPGs, and now live services, which are basically the same thing. Not every game needs to have Apex or Fortnite levels of online requirements. Hell, I'd even argue that Fortnite should have an offline mode, like a lot of these games. Like Overwatch. Back before it came out that Activision was complete and utter scum, and has always been complete and utter scum for years, I wanted to play Overwatch. Overwatch didn't have an offline mode, didn't have a story mode, didn't have any sort of way for me to play offline with friends, or just offline and experience the world. So you know what I did? Never bought it. The lack of a single player option neuters games for me. If you can't play a game offline, I don't want to play it. Genuinely speaking. There are very few exceptions to this, and even then, they are my gripes. They are my issues. Now let's go see if we actually got those mother boxes. And what do you know? We did. So, let's open a diamond mother box, because we proved that we can get the mother boxes no sweat. Well, look at that. We're getting gear. Would you look at that? We're getting gear. Huh. Funny, isn't it? We're getting gear. Randomized gear, sure, but we're getting stuff. Things that we can slap on Wonder Woman or Hellboy or Black Manta or whoever. And then we can go into the customized character menu and customize our characters however we want. And once we do that, we're good to go. Injustice 2 is more future-proof than Mortal Kombat 11. And it should be more future-proof. It should be more future-proof than Mortal Kombat 11. And Mortal Kombat 11 should be more like it. Yes, you don't get daily challenges, but those are 3 bronze mother boxes. You can get 3 bronze mother boxes ridiculously easily. And you can't link to Injustice 2 Mobile, but again, that requires online. So, with Injustice 2, let's say you lose about as much as Mortal Kombat X. You lose the online and one of the online-only modes, guilds instead of the faction war, but you still have access to ways to get the things that you want. So you can go as far as Injustice 2, which was a nice surprise. But that doesn't change the fact that Mortal Kombat 11 is basically fucked if the servers die. So, what do you do? What do we do about this sort of thing? Well, we can't do much because we can't change the game. But NetherRealm can change how their policies are. And WB can get their heads out of their asses and realize that, no, Online only is not the only way to play, and it's not even the best way to play by a sizable margin. Hopefully you enjoyed my little rant. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you guys on the other side.